On the news tonight, EFCC recovers over 134 billion naira in 10 months as looters forfeit 120 billion naira to the federal government. Banks reconfigure automated teller machines as new naira note circulates. And festive season demand pushes Nigeria's inflation to 21.47%. Many thanks for joining us on News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has disclosed that it had remitted at least 136 billion naira to the federal government account set up to collect and manage proceeds of crime since May 2022. The EFCC chairman, Abdulrashid Bawa, revealed this to State House correspondents when he appeared at the 62nd session of the State House ministerial briefing organized by the Presidential Communications team at the Aso Rock Villa in Abuja. These recovered funds, he said, will be deployed into ongoing infrastructure projects such as the Abuja-Kano Road, the Second Niger Bridge, and the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, amongst others. He said the funds were part of the monetary and asset recoveries recorded between January 1st to October 2022.
In November 2022, we recovered $354 million for NUPRC, in terms of royalty that one of the oil companies have not paid, but our investigation led to that recovery. For the recoveries that we are making for NDDC, for instance, between now and probably next week, we are going to transfer to them about 30 billion naira and about 30 million USD. These are recoveries that we have made from oil companies that have refused to pay the 3% statutory payment to NDDC, and we have also recovered billions of naira in terms of fraudulent contractual engagement that NDDC have done over the years.
Ahead of the 2023 elections, Inspector General of Police Usman Baba has met with commissioners of police and heads of police formations in Abuja to strategize on election security. The meeting at the force headquarters was also attended by Deputy Inspectors General of Police, Assistant Inspectors General of Police, among others. The IGP had on Tuesday met with stakeholders and harped on intelligence gathering and tackling security challenges. At the meeting, the IGP emphasized the need to enhance actionable intelligence gathering and sharing, coordinated operations, and adequate deployment of personnel and resources by all relevant security agencies and stakeholders in the election process. The U.S. President Joe Biden has praised President Muhammadu Buhari for his efforts in deepening democracy not only in Nigeria but also in Africa. The U.S. President said this in Washington during his meeting with leaders of 6 African countries slated to have elections in 2023 on the sidelines of the U.S. Africa Leaders Summit taking place in Washington, D.C. According to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, President Biden said he had followed the trajectory of Buhari from when he was an opposition leader to when he was elected president. He also encouraged the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to continue to be totally non-partisan.
It's a recognition of the legacy of Mr. President, which is a non-interference in the electoral processes in Nigeria. And, he is, seeking to have a level playing field for all, political parties. And also his putting in place, which is, I think, one of his most important legacies of, the electoral laws that that really delivers or can deliver really free, fair elections, and that votes will count and count, decisively. So clearly, I think that is what President Biden was, acknowledging. These countries have their representatives, their ambassadors in Nigeria, and who are seeing that, Mr. President has never sought to interfere or to manipulate elections and election results. And of course, this has been seen in the recent past with governorship elections, in which the ruling party candidates have not won. And, and Mr. President has welcomed those results and, as the people speaking. And I think the international community now recognizes that he really is a democrat, not just in words, but in action.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, through the deposit money banks across the country, has officially begun the circulation of the newly redesigned Naira notes. This is coming about 3 weeks after President Muhammadu Buhari unveiled the new bills at a weekly Federal Executive Council meeting in Nasarawa after the CBN announced that it will be releasing new currencies and mop up the old ones. Although the automated teller machines are yet to be stocked with the new notes, the banks released the bills to their customers via over-the-counter payments on Thursday, December the 15th. Joining me on the news to talk more on this is Adewale Ajadi, a public affairs analyst and legal expert. Thank you very much for joining us as always. Now, although the CBN has commenced circulation of the new notes, some banks have said the notes are not sufficient for customers. Seeing that the CBN is gunning for a cashless economy, is this method of fixing a deadline for depositing old notes and insufficient circulation of the new notes the way to go?
Good evening. I don't think I think we're too hasty to judge what's going to happen since we have until the 31st of January. It seems to be a well-considered approach. You see, in general, policy development is not something you just react to and you judge on the process until you have completed it and then you evaluate the consequences. Where it's too early, it's too hasty. I think the thinking behind the policy itself is sound. I think that having a cash economy like Nigeria and having money circulating around that you are not even sure whether they're legally obtained or not is a critical issue. Making sure things pass through the bank is the way to go. And being cashless is part of that process. So as a monetary policy, there is really nothing wrong with it. And oftentimes when people complain, they complain because they have a vested interest in maintaining a system where different kinds of legal and illegal money are washed regularly and come into the system. There's nothing wrong with this process.
Now, it can be argued that not every Nigerian is aware of the redesigned Naira notes, and seeing that adaptation might take a while, would you say the federal government and the CBN did not put the citizens into consideration?
I think that's a very wrong tack to take. You see, you have 200 million Nigerians. There are different levels of awareness. There's still time. It'll take a process. You're talking about a process that's just begun. Possibly the money came into the system today. It's too early. It's too early. There are people who are going to look at the money and say it's funny to them. But you see, no matter what happens, there's no policy that's 100% perfect, and there's no policy that ever gets implemented completely soundly. So we're too early in the game to start judging that. Let's see how it plays out. The fundamentals of this is that there's a lot of money in the system that's not passing through the banking system. There's money that's funding terrorism, there's funding illegal activity that are not passing through the system. These are ways in which we can mop up that. There's been all the ooh-ah, and this is what happens in Nigeria generally, about, oh, the design is not great, this is not that, and this is not that. We always complain. Before the thing even starts to work, we start to complain. There's a policy in place. There's an independent CBN that's working on that policy. Let's watch how they play it out. And let's learn from the process. If there are mistakes in the process, let's review it at the end of the process. Let's have the maturity to look at it. This is what worked. This is what did not work. This is what we'd like to improve the next time. And when a new government comes in, they learn from that and apply it. That is how you develop the policy robustness and sustainability that we need. We need to have
But,
the
well,
maturity.
indeed, Adewale Ajadi, I'm sorry, it's this much you can take on the topic, but many thanks for your analysis. Adewale Ajadi, public affairs analyst and legal expert, thank you very much for your time and contribution. Well, TV360's Nigeria's crew was on the streets of Lagos to sample their opinion on what they feel about the redesigned Naira notes. And here is what they said.
As I'm looking, can you say I'm looking at this money? You only take Alaba boys 2 weeks to print out the fake. I tell you, you know what I'm selling. You can't pay me this money. You can't buy markets with this money from me, and I will collect it. It will get to March or April before I can start collecting this kind of money. The old one is even better. When the old one even come out, before the old one circulate, the fake circulate more than the old one. Now talking of this very one that look like photocopy, coloring, take it to where you want to do photocopy. Tell them you want colored. This is what they will print for you.
Yeah, it's. I've already read a report this morning that says that it's only a few banks that do have it, and the amounts of new notes that have been released is actually small. I've just used an ATM right now, and it's still the old notes that came out of it. So as of today, we haven't seen it.
Not really, because nobody in my area we've not seen it. We are always hoping to see it. We are hoping to see it, but we've not seen it. They said today 15. So I've been out since morning, so I don't know if I go and make some withdrawal. Maybe they will give me the new one.
The new note does not help the masses. You know, they are using all those things for politics. Because if you remember, few months ago, during the primary election, you know that there is a primary election. This new note, if you want to help people, you would have done this new note before the primary election. In primary election, we are aware that they use dollar to pay themselves. What did the CBN do? Are they not aware? Why are you bringing this policy now to come and frustrate these people?
The federal government says the whistleblower policy has lost its steam and there is a need to further strengthen the policy to support the fight against corruption. To this end, the Federal Executive Council, FEC, has approved the 2022 draft whistleblower bill, which with a provision to ensure alignment with the Evidence Act. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, discloses to State House correspondents after the week's council meeting chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the Aso Rock Villa in Abuja. Our correspondent, Mary Kano, has the details in this report.
Launched in December 2016 by the Buhari-led government, the Whistleblower Protection Act, facilitated through the Federal Ministry of Finance, provides legal cover for individuals who voluntarily expose acts of fraud, bribery, looted government funds and assets, financial misconduct, and other forms of corruption. The policy, however, could not stand the test of time due to lack of protection laws to guarantee the safety of whistleblowers. 6 years after this law was introduced, the federal government has put in place a legal framework for a policy that will significantly enhance the fight against corruption.
This memo has been reviewed by Council and approved with a provision to ensure alignment with the Evidence Act. The purpose of the whistleblower bill, operationalizing and putting in place a bill, is to strengthen the fight against corruption, to also enable protection for whistleblowers that provide information for use by government. That we found is that people are concerned about their safety as a result of providing the information. So this bill is critical to ensure the effectiveness of the intention of the whistleblower policy.
The policy also rewards a whistleblower who provides information about any financial mismanagement or tip-off about stolen funds to the ministry's portal, with 2.5 to 5% of the funds recovered by the Nigerian government. Reacting to this development, analysts say it is a welcome development, but the government has to fast-track strengthening the policy.
The history is that good bills usually take a long time to get through the National Assembly. So you can see the petroleum the Petroleum Industry Act, the Freedom of Information Act, that one even transcend over a decade and all of that. So yes, on the surface, it's a welcome development, but as we get to see the content and the development that will follow, we'll see whether we can say this is good news, really.
Suleiman further said the federal government's willingness to fight corruption through the whistleblower policy will put an end to corrupt practices.
There is no law that actually guarantees protection of whistleblower. So if it's actually the law that is serving as a setback for people blowing whistle, I think once we have that law, it's going to serve as an encouragement to other anti-corruption agents to blow whistle.
This week's Federal Executive Council FEC meeting is chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo in the absence of President Muhammadu Buhari, who is attending the U.S.-Africa Leadership Summit in Washington, D.C. Mary Kanu, TV360, Nigeria.
Our children are treasures of the world and should be celebrated. These are the words of the chairman, China Industrial and Commercial Enterprises Association of Nigeria, Eric Ni. Ni spoke at the Fun Fair Children's Party organized by the Chinese community in Nigeria to celebrate the Yuletide season. He explained that the celebration is in line with a good relationship that exists between Nigeria and China, adding that the Chinese community will continue to support children and low-income earners in the society. Our correspondent has more details in this report. The Chinese lion dance, waist drum dance, and Nigeria's cultural dance are some of the performances that added color to this end-of-the-year event as children cheered to the fun and beauty of the Yuletide season. Apart from the various performances, the debate competition was the highlight of this event, which is aimed at promoting the educational and cultural relationship between Nigeria and China. Out of the 1,700 children from primary and secondary schools across Lagos that participated in the virtual debate, a total of 16 made it to the finals and battled for the top prize. The winners from both categories were awarded scholarships of 100,000, 70,000 and 50,000 naira for first, second and third positions respectively. These, the organizers say, will further enhance their overall performance in future.
When you have a happy childhood, your lifestyle will change because you are positive in life. And to what I see, Nigerians usually are very happy. But once you have this putting up together, they have fun, they have music, they have dance. At the same time, it's also encouraged them to study harder. For example, the competitions of what they are doing and getting the awards, getting the money that they are receiving.
The awardees expressed excitement as they appreciated the organizers of the event for the recognition.
I feel proud. I'm proud of myself, and for those who helped me, my neighbor, my sisters, all regards to them, and thank you.
I would like to thank them. I feel very happy and very glad. I would like to say, let God bless the organizers for putting this together for hardworking children.
At first, I thought that it's boy that is going to win, but fortunately, I won. I want to appreciate the organizations of this event. I want to say thank you very much.
With consolation prizes given to other participants and 100,000 naira for the various groups that performed at the event, a total of 50 pupils and students were awarded scholarships. Folashade Ogurinde, TV360 News. I will take a break here, but still to come, UK nurses embark on first ever strike to demand better pay. Details of the story and more right after this break.
The Independent National Electoral Commission INEC has fixed Monday 12th December 2022 to Sunday 22nd January 2023 as the dates for the collection of PVCs nationwide from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. daily, including Saturdays and Sundays. All registrants who are yet to collect their PVCs or requested for transfer of registration, as well as those who applied for replacement of lost or damaged PVCs, can now visit INEC local government offices where they intend to vote to collect their PVCs. Collection of PVCs will be further extended to ward level for those who are unable to collect theirs at local government offices from Friday 6th to Sunday 15th January 2023. Thereafter, the exercise will be reverted to the local government offices of the INEC until Sunday 22nd January 2023. Remember, only those with PVC can vote on election day. Collect your PVC now to vote. It is your duty. This message is brought to you by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, making your votes count, consolidating our democracy.
Welcome back. Now here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has disclosed that it had remitted at least 136 billion naira to the federal government account set up to collect and manage proceeds of crime since May 2022. According to the EFCC chairman, Abdurrashid Bawa, these recovered funds will be deployed into ongoing infrastructure projects such as the Abuja-Kaduna Road, Second Niger Bridge and Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, among others. Well, we also told you that the Central Bank of Nigeria, through the deposit money banks across the country, has officially begun the circulation of newly redesigned Naira notes. Although the automated teller machines are yet to be stocked with the new notes, the banks released the bills to their customers via over-the-counter payments on Thursday, December the 15th. But in case you missed any of our news bulletin, or for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. A Florida pastor and his son have been arrested for allegedly obtaining $8.4 million in COVID-19 relief funds and using most of it to purchase a luxury mansion on Disney World property. Evan Edwards and his son Josh, the respective president and vice president of the Aslan International Ministry, were taken into federal custody from their family home in New Sinmar Beach. Prosecutors say the pair were arrested after lying on an application for a PPP loan and receiving $8 million to keep the family's Christian ministry afloat during the pandemic. I will take a breather here and return with more stories and business. To stay with us. Welcome back. Well, up next is business news and stock market review with Simisola Adigun. Simi, what's the latest?
Thank you, Folashade. Welcome to business news. The nation's inflation rate rose to 21.47% in November, continuing its 2002 surge. 2022 surge rather. This is 0.38 percentage points higher than the 21.09% that was recorded in October. In its Consumer Price Index for November 2022 released on Thursday, the National Bureau of Statistics said the rise is due to an increase in demand due to the festive season. It further added that the increase in the cost of importation due to persistent currency depreciation and a general increase in the cost of production are responsible for the increase in the annual inflation rate. The federal government has ordered the opening of the second Niger Bridge for use in order to ease traffic in the southeast during the festive season. The bridge was opened at exactly 9:50 a.m. on Thursday, December 15, 2022, despite assurances by the federal government that the bridge will be opened by 12 a.m. Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola, who gave the order on Wednesday at the inauguration of the bridge, said it will be open for use for 1 month during the Yuletide. He added that the bridge will be closed to traffic on January 15, 2023. The minister urged motorists plying the bridge to drive safely and responsibly in order not to defeat the purpose of the construction of the project. We'll go for a short break here and be back with stock market reports. Stay with us. It's another day of bullish trade on the Nigerian Exchange Group thanks to increased buy activities in favor of top earning stocks, which pushed the market higher by 0.05%. The all-share index and market cap all further increased as well to 49,233 basis points and 26.8 trillion naira. CAP PLC and Adova PLC laid the gainers league, each with a share price of 17 and 16 naira. They both upped the market's gains with a combined 34 naira. Now, during Thursday's trading session, a total of 222 million volume of shares valued at 2.1 billion naira exchanged hands in 2,756 deals. Now, following the record positive on the bourse, the market has risen further by 3.30% month to date. Sadly, our select global stocks all recorded bearish trade as European and U.S. stocks stumbled following central banks in the U.S. and Europe all raising their key lending rates, and many signaled that further rises were likely as they battled domestic inflation. The declines came after the Federal Reserve raised its main policy rate by 0.5 percentage points on Wednesday, ending a run of 4 consecutive 0.75 percentage point high. Well, that's the stock market report. Back to you, Folashade.
Many thanks to Ms. Salah for that update. And on the foreign scene, nurses in the United Kingdom have embarked on a strike to demand better pay, making it the largest nurses strike in the history of the UK's National Health Service. It is also the first time the union will go on industrial action in its 106-year history. The nurses had earlier in November demanded a 19% increase in their salary. The General Secretary of the Royal College of Nursing, Pat Culling, said the strike marked a tragic day in nursing and called on the government to do the decent thing to resolve their dispute. And in sport, Nigeria's under-20 side, the Flying Eagles, will discover their group stage foes for the 2023 Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations next week, Friday. According to the Confederation of African Football (CAF), the draw ceremony will take place in Cairo, Egypt on December 23rd. Egypt is set to host the biennial competition from February 18 to March 12. Aside from the Flying Eagles and the host nation, 10 other countries will also compete for honors at Egypt 2023, with the 4 semi-finalists at the competition competing at the 2023 FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Indonesia. And that's the size of our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Folashade Ogurinde. Bye for now.